Good evening, everyone. Welcome to International Prop Chat episode 68. My name is Wong, International Property Consultant, your presenter of today. On behalf of IQI Global, Asia's largest real estate firm, and a member of IQI, IQI, I would like to thank you very much for tuning in and supporting our program. This program features various real estate opportunities, global investment criteria, at the same time sharing some of the hottest and the latest investment opportunities all over the world. So do join us every Friday at 9:30 on Facebook Live at IQI International Sales page. Today's sharing is about retirement in the Philippines through investment. And we are very privileged to have Mr. Emmanuel Venturina, the managing director of IQI Philippines, the expert in the Philippines market, to do this sharing with us. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Hi, Sue. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm good, and I'm very excited to be here again. I think it's been more than a year since I have shared some property updates regarding the Philippines in this episode. Yeah. Yes, it's been too long.
Okay. How's the situation in the Philippines right now?
It's getting better. I think the vaccine has helped a lot. Now, the cities are open, so we get to go out and do our viewings now compared in the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I think the market is getting back and bouncing back. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good to hear. Yeah, I think same goes to Malaysia. We are just opening up, loosening the restriction. So we are improving day by day. So we hope the best for both of our countries. Yeah, so we can have
Yes,
opportunity to show and to view properties. Yeah.
agree with you.
Okay. Okay. So the floor is yours, Andrew. You can go ahead and do your sharing.
All right. Okay. So again, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to International Property Chat. I am Venturina, the Managing Director and Country Head of IQI Philippines. And for tonight, we'll be discussing about something different. No? I think a lot of foreign investors or international investors are just aware of purchasing properties in the Philippines, and that's it. But I think very few of us are aware of the investing in the Philippines and be able to retire in the beautiful and picturesque, which is the Philippines. Okay, so let me share you the slides. Okay, so a lot of people are asking why should we invest and retire in the Philippines? All right, and there are four reasons why the Philippines is Asia's ultimate retirement destination. Okay, for someone who has spent a bulk of their lives working the days away and providing for their family, the thought of retirement can seem rather daunting, right? And what will the days feel like? Where do I see myself spending the rest of my years? Where are you still considering if you want to move out of your country or have your sights set abroad already? Let this be the gentle nudge to appreciate the Philippines. Trends show that retirees have three vital criteria that they consider before they make the important decision to move abroad. Number one is affordability, of course. And then second is the living standards or the quality of life and sustainability. And the Philippines effortlessly fits the above criteria and steadily becoming the prime retirement destination in Asia. With over 3.7 million foreign tourists in 2018 and 2019 and 2020, that proves a lot that we are a destination, right? And there is this, I would say, a campaign before by the Department of Tourism. It's more fun in the Philippines. And I would say it is also more fun to live and invest in the Philippines. And with that, we give retirees from all over the world the lowdown on why the Philippines is the perfect fit for this particular retirement option. Number one, the Philippines offer a high standard of living at a very much lower cost, with a great weather, beautiful scenery, beaches, and rich culture. If fresh air, lush mountains, and beautiful beaches are the top of your consideration, Philippines has all of the above. No, in fact, 11 of the 15 cities with the cleanest air in Southeast Asia are in the Philippines, overtaking countries like Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam. But that is just the cherry on top, as the lower cost of living is the number one reason why expats choose to retire in the Philippines. Expats can live comfortably at around $800 to $1,200 a month, dining out and in-country travel included. And other than Metro Manila, which a lot of you are very familiar, there are also a lot of locations that are very uh, interesting for a lot of expats and also retirees, such as famous tourist spots like Clark, Dumaguete, Boracay, Cebu. They're also top retirement destinations for foreigners in the Philippines. These places are a lot more peaceful than the city and offer lush living conditions at lower costs. Imagine living out your dream vacation all year round in Palawan, in Cebu, in Boracay. It sounds like a perfect retirement plan, if you ask me. Okay, and the second is that the Philippines is considered to be a hospitable haven for expats. According to a study before, it was done in 2019, it reveals that 45% of expats residing in the Philippines felt like home instantly or in less than 6 months. According to the HSBC Retail Banking and Wealth Management before, this comes as no surprise because given two major reasons. No, number one, Filipinos' fluency in speaking English, and number two is that the people's innate hospitality and very positive energy. All right, the survey also reveals a myriad of new important information. Number one, 56% of expats felt that Filipinos welcome people regardless of their race, faith, gender, or sexual orientation. While 53% of expats in the Philippines also enjoy immersing in the local culture, with 63% able to easily form new friendships, right? So definitely Filipinos are very friendly and very accommodating and very hospitable. Being the third happiest country in the world, the Philippines is a home to happy, family-oriented individuals. And more experts agree that the Philippines is a great place to sit back, relax, and enjoy the scenery and also the people. All right. Third is the investments and incentives are plenty in the Philippines. Of course, a lot of you are aware already that Philippines has good investment opportunities with high capital appreciation and also high rental yield. And aside from offering a highly welcoming environment for expats, the Philippines also provides several special benefits for foreigners, and foreign retirees, and expats. For one, the Philippines has a government agency that is dedicated in attracting and assisting expats or foreign retirees, which is the main topic of tonight's sharing. Okay. A major come-on that has attracted foreign retirees to the Philippines through the years is the ability to invest or start a business. So of course, as you move here, you will be able to start your business and be able to have a better lifestyle because again, like what I said, we have a quality kind of lifestyle and living with a lower cost compared to the other countries. Number four is that the Philippines offers a worry-free permanent residency for foreign retirees, which I'm going to discuss to you now. All right, next slide, please. So the agency that is taking care of the retirement for a lot of foreign investors and a lot of expatriates is the PRA, or Philippine Retirement Authority. So the government has mandated this agency to promote some campaigns and also promos that will attract more foreign retirees and expatriates to live in the Philippines. Next slide. This is the main product that we are actually promoting. This is the Special Resident Retirees Visa. It is a non-immigrant visa for foreign nationals who would like to make the Philippines as their second home. And of course, a big portion of that is that the deposit or the retirement deposit that you're going to park in the bank can be converted into a property investment. Next slide. So maybe a lot of you are asking, so Drew, what's in it for me if I retire in the Philippines? If I choose to live in the Philippines, what are the benefits if I avail this kind of visa? Okay, number one is that, of course, if you love going to the beach and you love exploring the Philippines, now you will have no limited access to the Philippines. You will have indefinite stay with multiple entry and exit privileges. And then, of course, there will be an exemption when it comes to securing the alien certificate of residency card in the Philippines, which you have to report or acquire annually. And of course, there will be some custom duties and taxes for one-time importation. And this one is good for 7,000 USD amount of importation and household goods, tax-free. All right. And then, of course, there will be no tax or travel tax if retiree has not stayed in the Philippines for more than a year. And of course, if you have your children with you, definitely they don't have to secure a student visa. A lot of foreign retirees here, specifically Chinese, Koreans, are actually availing this kind of visa because they also choose the Philippines or Metro Manila to be to be the preferred country where their kids will be studying. Just to share with you, Philippines has ranked to be one of the most preferred location to study because of the good universities and international schools available in the area. Next slide. Number 3 is that it has an access to breathe and assist program at the selected Philippine airports. So meaning it will make you feel comfortable, and the staff in the airport will make it easy for you and convenient for you to enter the Philippines or to enter the country. And then of course, you'll be updated regularly by the promotions and then the available merchants and partners of PRA that can actually benefit your stay in the Philippines. And of course, with all those merchants and partners, there are also discounts ranging from 5% to 20%, depending on the merchants. That could include medical services, groceries, restaurants, and also other financial services that will be available in the market. Number 6 is that the free assistance in transacting with any other government agencies. As you know, sometimes it's quite stressful to get some documents in the Philippines, especially from government agencies. But as a retiree, a foreign retiree, there is a special assistance that will be provided to you as you secure this kind of visa. And most importantly is that as you become as you secure a retiree visa in the Philippines, you will have an access to the government provided health benefit, which is through PhilHealth. Normally, for the hospitalization or other services, medical services, you'll be able to avail around 20% to 30% discount for all those healthcare. Next slide. So here we have categorized the kind of SRRV that you can get. No? So of course, for the active retirees, for those who have ample amount of energy, who are still young, then you have an option to get SRRV Smile or the one that is Classic. So the difference is that for the Classic, you can convert your retirement deposit into a property. So instead of just letting the money sit in the bank, you can purchase a property and that will serve as your deposit. And then now for the Smile, with the lower deposit, definitely it will not be converted into a property or a property investment. And we also have those that we extend to the diplomats or former Filipinos. That is what we call SRRV courtesy. And for those foreign nationals who are ailing or who need some special assistance or help, definitely we provide the SRRV human touch. Later on, we're going to discuss further what are the differences, how much deposit should each kind of visa would entail. All right, next. For the SRRV Classic, this one is for the active and healthy retirees who prefer to stay in the Philippines and make use of their deposit into an active investment, meaning you can use your deposit to buy a property in the Philippines. For foreigners, as you know, we are only allowed to invest in condominiums unless you are married to a Filipina or you have a corporation. That will enable you to invest or buy properties, house and lot and land. All right. And you can also do, if you would like to really avail or stay in a house and lot, you can definitely have a long-term lease instead of buying a condominium or buying the lot. And for this one, this is good for 35 to 49 years old. And with a without pension, your deposit should be around 50,000 US dollars annually. So that should be your deposit. And then for those who are at 50 years old and above, For those who have pension, meaning you have your regular money coming from your home country, maybe from the government or from your own business, the deposit should be 10,000 US dollars. And for those who have pension without pension, okay, vice versa, it should be 20,000 US dollars. Okay, and then the value of the property must be at least 50,000 US dollars. So in peso, that is around 2.5 million. And as you know, most of the properties here in the Philippines, especially in Metro Manila, ranges from 4 million to and above. But if you move outside Metro Manila, if for example you decide to stay in Cebu, in Angeles, or in side skirt of Metro Manila, then definitely the property would range from 2 million to 5 million pesos. Okay, next slide. Now moving to the SMILE, SRRB SMILE. And this one is good for the active and healthy retirees, same as plastic, who opt to maintain their SRV visa deposit without investing in the property. Okay, so definitely for this kind of visa, you will not be able to convert your deposit into an active investment. But that doesn't limit you to invest in a condominium property. A lot of our expats here or clients here are choosing to stay in the Philippines, open up a business, at the same time buy properties, rent it out, and that will give them a passive income for them. So that also gives them an access to the Philippines in and out unlimited. All right, next. And then the third kind of visa under this product is the human touch. And this one is applicable for those who are old already or 50 years old and above, who are ailing or who has existing health conditions, who need or require medical and clinical care. A monthly pension of at least 1,500 US dollars is required for you to be able to avail this kind of visa. And of course, a health insurance policy accepted in the Philippines. So it could be any health insurance from your country that has partnered with PRA that will be acceptable. And of course, we will be requiring a 10,000 US dollars visa deposit, which is not convertible into property. Okay, and then of course for this one, there's a lot of healthcare facilities that are available. Back in the days, the retirement home is not so popular in the Philippines, but right now we can see that there's a lot of developers and small developers who are offering this kind of service. So they are selling condominiums and developments, which is for the retirees. So a lot of foreign operators also of a retirement home are now here in the Philippines trying to build that market, because they know that there's a huge foreign investors and also foreign ailing retirees that prefer to stay in the Philippines with all the benefits that I have mentioned earlier. Next. The fourth one is the SRRB courtesy. All right, and this one is being extended to former Filipinos, meaning for those Filipinos who were able to secure their residency in Australia, Canada, in the US, or in any other countries, you have an option to retire to retire and go back to the Philippines if you're 50 years old and above. And for foreign nationals 50 years old and above who are retired officers of international organizations that is recognized by the Philippines. And for this one, the deposit is 1,500 US dollars, which is required. And this one is also not convertible into property investment. But again, that doesn't limit you to invest in properties in the Philippines that could provide you passive income and could also help you grow your money in the Philippines. Okay, next. This one is the expanded courtesy. This one is also for the foreign nationals, 50 years old and above. And this one is for the armed forces, for armed force officers of foreign countries with existing military ties up with the Philippines. This one is for the US, mainly are for the US embassies or armed forces who wish to retire to the Philippines. These are the armed forces who have been in the Philippines and they love to stay in the Philippines. So the government is willing to extend this kind of visa to them, of course, with at least a 1,000 US dollars pension coming from their home country, And then, of course, a visa deposit of 1,500 is required. Okay. The good thing about the SRRB visa is that if you have dependents, if you have a family, you can actually bring them here in the Philippines, and most of them will be covered by the deposit as well as the annual fee. All right. So later on, we'll be discussing with you what are the requirements and what are the coverage of the SRV fees that we're going to impose as you avail this kind of visas. Now, for of course, if you're going to bring in your family, there should be some proof of or documentation showing that you are the legitimate father, or at least you have, for example, if you have an adopted child, you should be presenting the adoption paper. And of course, for your wife, there should be a marriage certificate. Next slide. So here, this is a visa processing fee. So we have a one-time application fee of 1,400 for the principal applicant. And then for the dependents, for the wife, and then for the kids, it will be $300 annually. And this one, we will show you later on what are the possible options for you. So for example, for the Classic and Smile, what's going to happen is that you will be needing an annual fee of $360 US. That is good for 3-person already. And for example, if there will be an excessive fee, there will be a $10 or $100 for Classic, and for Courtesy, it will be $10 each member. And then for the investment option, of course, you have an option to invest it in a condominium property, and it should be at least 50,000 US. And then if you would like to avail or at least stay in a house and lot or in a beach resort, then you can do so by having a long-term lease. And for this one, the contract value for that long-term lease should be a minimum of 25 years and at least 50,000 US. So there's a lot of ways for you to stay in the Philippines, own a property, and be able to start your business here. Like what I mentioned earlier, a lot of our clients who move here, whom we are assisting in leasing out their condominiums, they choose to stay here because of their kids who are studying in the international schools. Next. So here are the basic requirements for SRB application. Number one, original valid passport and valid updated temporary visitor's visa, accomplished PRA application form, original valid medical clearance. It's important for us to be able to know and understand your medical condition, especially if you are availing the extended and also the human touch SRB visa. And then original valid police clearance from your country of origin, NBI, and of course the SRV visa deposit that is inwardly remitted to the partner merchant banks. And of course the fees. And for those supporting documents, if you're bringing in your family, like what we mentioned earlier, the marriage certificate, birth certificate, proof of pension or annuities, so meaning a proof of your income or monetary support from your country. It could be from your business in that area, or a pension from the government. Of course, you'll be needing also other additional documents stated here. If you would like to know more about this, then we will be happy to share this with the international team so that we can also discuss it with your clients or with you directly. And of course, the notice of client registration as you apply for this kind of visas. Next. Okay, so here are the important reminders for as you apply for this kind of visa. Of course, this one will take at least a month, especially now that there is a restriction because of COVID. At the same time, we have also to take note that the tourist visa expiration date, we have to be aware of that, so that because there is a downtime when it comes to the processing of your SRRV. So make sure that your tourist visa expiration date fits to the time that you will be staying in the Philippines. All right, so there's a lot of documents here, but we'll be sharing it with you through the international team. Okay, next. So here are the summary of the benefits that you're going to have as you avail this kind of visas. Again, permanent residency visa, you can stay in the Philippines permanently. And then there's a multiple entry visa that you can go in and out of the Philippines anytime you want. And of course, tax-free importation worth of 7,000 US dollars. Exemptions on the certificate takes 3 weeks to process at DOF through PRA. And of course, the availment period can be extended only for another 60 days. And then there will also be some exemption on the travel tax. And of course, there will be an exemption for those student visa for your kids who choose to study in the Philippine universities or international schools. And next slide. Okay. So like what you mentioned earlier, there are only some type of visas that you can only convert your deposit into an active investment plan. All right, but again, it doesn't limit you to invest and grow your money, especially with the hot properties available in the market. Okay, so maybe a lot of you would be asking, if I buy a pre-selling property, will that count? Okay, so there are actually developers who are accredited with PRA, which you can buy a pre-selling property, and by doing so, you will be able to avail or make use of your deposit as an active investment. So we can also provide you a list of those developers that are accredited with PRA for you to be able to convert your visa deposit into an active investment, property investment option. Next slide. So here we're just showing you again the summary of the fees and requirements for the SRRV visa. Next. Okay, these are just some of the reminders, especially for the medical examination certificate, which is very much applicable for those ailing retirees who wish to move to the Philippines. Next slide. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. So here are the PRA accredited banks. So definitely for your deposit, it should be transmitted directly to these banks. So we have major banks, BDO, Union Bank, PNB, DBP, and I believe there are also some international banks such as HSBC, whom you can actually open an account, which eventually that will be the preferred merchant wherein you will transfer your funding and also your deposit. Next slide. Okay, so here's the summary of the top nationalities that we have here now in the Philippines. So right now, top of the nationality who prefer to stay in the Philippines and retire here are actually Chinese. And this has been going on since, I think, early 90s. And we have a total of 17,000 total Chinese retirees in the Philippines, which comprise the 35.37% of the total retirees in the Philippines. And next to that is the Koreans. We have around 10,000 retirees. And then for the Americans, before they used to be number 1, but now they're number 6. Japanese is now on the top 5, which is around 7% of the total retirees in the Philippines. And of course, the rest follows. We have British, German, Australian, and the rest, others that are not mentioned, is comprised of 8.18%. So a lot of you might be asking why these Chinese nationalities and Koreans are moving to the Philippines. As what I mentioned to you, major reason is the education. So as what we discussed earlier, Philippines is considered as one of the top provider of education, high quality education in Southeast Asia and in the world, with the big universities such as University of the Philippines, LaSalle, Ateneo, University of the Philippines, and a lot of international schools. A lot of Chinese and Korean family choose to stay here because there's a lower cost of living, number one. They can rent out a condominium for a cheaper price compared to Korea or compared to China. At the same time, the cost of the education here is cheaper compared to their home countries. Next. So here we're showing you the breakdown of the ages, right? So majority are actually at 50 to 64 years old. So majority of them are those who choose to retire here, start up a business, and then let their kids study in the Philippines. And then second to that is the 40 to 49 age bracket, which is 29.75%. And then if you're going to check the 35 to 39, which is the active individuals, we just choose to retire in the Philippines, enjoy the sceneries. These are those individuals who prefer to live by the beach area, such as Cebu, Siargao, and also Boracay. And they choose to open up a business here at the same time invest in real estate. So as what we mentioned earlier, majority of the retirees here are here for their family, and majority of them are married with kids. And a very small fraction of that is, next to that is the single individuals. Normally, they are those expats who have worked here before for a couple of years, and they choose to stay in the Philippines because of a lot of reasons. Next. So here are the preferred locations that a lot of retirees choose to stay in. Number one is NCR, or the National Capital Region, where Metro Manila is. So a lot of them prefer to live here, especially because of the access to the medical care, at the same time accessibility to other areas, and of course for their business. A lot of them choose to put up their business in Metro Manila, and a lot of them also choose to stay in Metro Manila because of the schools that can provide quality education to their kids. And the next is the Calabar Zone and Central Luzon, which are just right next to Metro Manila. So they choose to live in these locations because it has fresher air, it's less crowded compared to the cities in Metro Manila, but it also provides accessibility to healthcare, and it provides also cheaper cost of living. Next. Okay, so again, why retirees are in the Philippines? A lot of you are asking that. It made the Philippines as their second home, since pension received is not enough for their daily subsistence in their country. So like what I told you, of course, if you're going to retire in the US, definitely the amount that you're going to receive won't be enough to support yourself because of the high cost of living. So they decide to move to other countries, such as Philippines, so that their money has more value. And of course, children are sent to schools, universities to study English and finish college. As what we mentioned earlier, English is widely well spoken in the country. That's why expats also prefer to stay here, because they get to connect better and they get to communicate better with the community. Third is that they could invest and put up their own businesses. Now, when we went to Boracay, I think that was last January, we were able to see a lot of foreign retirees there putting up their own businesses, maybe a restaurant, maybe a bar, and they get to do or practice their passion and earn from it. So those are the kind of people who try to invest and put up their business in the Philippines. It makes the Philippines as their halfway home, especially during the winter season in their countries. I was just with a client earlier. We're actually from Germany, and they choose to live here because their mom is a Filipina. Definitely, this is their second home, but they prefer the weather. They love the weather. They can always go to the beaches, and any month of the year, there's always sun, and they feel that they can always get the best of the natural resources and the natural and the sceneries in the Philippines. The next one is that it makes the Philippines as their weekend getaway place for scuba dive and to play golf. As what we mentioned earlier, outside Metro Manila, like 3 hours or 2 hours away from the city, you can find a lot of greeneries, a lot of countryside, coastal regions, as well as a rainforest that can enable you to do a lot of activities such as scuba diving, hiking, and of course, if you'd like to stay in the city, you can play golf and be back in the city and be able to enjoy your active lifestyle. And of course, to simply retire from work and voluntarily work for the community. This is also one thing that we have seen, especially for the European individuals or European nationalities who choose to stay here for their purpose, who would like to voluntarily do some humanitarian work, at the same time live the life that they prefer, which is much more closer to nature. Next. So here are the reasons why retirees can benefit to the community, to the Philippines. Of course, we have to consider that the retirees are providing support also to the community by, number one, when they provide businesses, it creates more work and it brings more money in the system. And of course, some retirees may help finance joint ventures with local business people. At the same time, they bring capital into the area that may be invested locally by local banks. Next. So here is a comparison between the cost of living in major areas or countries where a lot of retirees in the Philippines are. Cost of living in South Korea is 39% more expensive than in Metro Manila. The cost of living in Tokyo is 65 much more expensive than in Metro Manila. Same thing with Taipei, but this one is just a little bit less. It's 18%. And then the cost of living in Manila is 48% cheaper than in Los Angeles, California. And in comparison with Sydney, it's definitely 50% less compared to the cost of living in Sydney. Okay, next. Okay, for those who are actually from United Kingdom, it's 129 much more expensive than in Metro Manila. So here are the reasons why a lot of nationalities are moving to the Philippines, especially for their retirement, because the money that they have saved, the money that they were able to get from the pension, will definitely reach a much more, will have more reach and more value in the Philippines. Next. All right, so I think next slide. Okay, so next slide. All right, so that's end our presentation. So again, just like what I said earlier, a lot of individuals are really choosing the Philippines because of, number one, lower cost of living compared to major countries, major cities that they are in, like in Korea, London, etc. And then, of course, the quality of education that the country is providing to their kids, to their children. And then another thing is that the great weather, which a lot of expats prefer to live in. And then, of course, they feel more connected with people, with Filipinos, because English is widely spoken. And of course, we have a very fun and very inviting, hospitable aura that a lot of expats also prefer to. And then, of course, the natural, beautiful sceneries and natural resources of the Philippines that is available for them. All right, so that ends my presentation. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Yes, indeed, we are all waiting for the borders to open so that we can fly over
Yes.
Boracay and all these places, Cebu, to enjoy your beach and sunshine. Yeah, yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, we're looking forward to that because again, it's been 2 years already since the first lockdown,
Yes.
and I mean, traveling is something that a lot of foreign investors are also using as a way for them to get to see what's happening in the area, and that is their, I would say, one of the reasons that can make them decide to buy or invest in a country.
Yes, yes, yes. I think it is timely that you actually share this with on this at this on in this platform right now, because as we are preparing to opening up, I think this information can be crucial and can be important to many people who are considering a second home. Yeah. So
Right.
okay, I do have some question. I thank you for very insightful sharing. Okay, on the sharing first part, you said that the field care, right? Field health.
Yeah,
You get 20 to 30% of a discount from medical
medical
treatment,
care.
medical care. So are the retirees actually free to choose from any of the hospitals, private or public, or is there like a specific only public hospitals they can go, or how is it? How does it work?
Yeah, for field health, basically, as you avail that,
Mm,
you can go to major hospitals also and also public hospitals.
mm,
But of course, there are a list of the accredited hospitals for PRA, or for those who are availing the SRIV visa.
Okay, so there's a list that is approved by them.
That's
Okay.
correct, yes. Because you want to make sure also that they are being assisted properly and we are providing the best healthcare for them.
Okay. I caught on to one of your statements. Um, the Philippines has the lowest cost of living from 800 to 1,200 USD. Is it inclusive of rental?
No. That's actually that price actually quoted for the coastal area or for the provinces outside Metro Manila. Of course, Metro Manila is a little bit more expensive than that, definitely. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Okay.
So again, that one was quoted by PRA for example for Dumaguete, for
Hmm.
Clark area, which are
Okay.
actually cheaper compared to Metro Manila. I would say 50% cheaper.
Yeah, and those are quite nice places to live in as well, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Beach area, right? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Okay. You've shared all these different visas. But I think you haven't shared like who can assist to apply. Like does the IQI Philippines assist to apply, or how does it?
Yes. So
Okay.
definitely the IKI Philippines can assist you. At the same time, for those who are also availing through the developers directly, there are also developers who are assisting our clients, but definitely through us, we'll be able to assist you.
Okay, okay. So you did mention that the application process, it takes about 30 days, right? So how does
Yeah.
it go? Usually do they apply from overseas and wait for the approval to be done and then only fly over there? Or because you also mentioned that, to be careful with the tourist visa, and that means like they can either choose to apply from overseas or apply from the
Yes.
itself. Is that
Yeah, they can definitely apply overseas, but
Mm,
then the tendency of most of the clients is that they would like to go here first and then check already where will I stay,
mm,
and then do I have to look for rental properties where I will stay temporarily while
mhm,
I'm still figuring out things on where I'm gonna be staying for good, etc. So that's why they need to secure also the tourist visa,
mm.
so that they can explore and decide later on which areas they will stay in and what kind of properties they would like to rent out, for example. Yeah.
Okay, so
But the application can start already overseas. Yeah.
it starts from overseas, and then
Yes.
okay, I see. Okay, so you mentioned that under this visa, they can also apply for their family members, and I know in certain countries, right, even the mom, the in-laws can apply, right? So
Right. Right.
is it the same as in this under the Philippines?
Yeah. As long as you can declare them as your dependents, then that's okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can actually apply for your parents if they are
If
your.
your dependents, yes, that's correct. Yeah. But for the in-laws, of course, I think there's a certain. I think as long as you provide some requirements or proof that they are depending on you,
Mm,
then that can be done.
okay, okay. So for the because some visa you can use the deposit to buy your property. So
Right.
does it mean that the whole sum of the deposit in your bank, you can utilize it all? You don't have to, like, keep it for a certain like period of time or something like that?
Basically, as you put that into a property investment,
Mhm.
I think you're not supposed to sell that property until you are availing the visa. So that's the only restriction for that. But definitely, for example, if you have the property that you're going to buy is, for example, 100,000 US
Mm,
dollars, right? And then your deposit is only 30,000 US dollars.
mm.
Then you have to utilize everything and then add on to the property investment.
So you got to hold on to the property, and if you sell, then you have to buy another property. Is that so?
That's correct. Yes, or you pay the deposit, the visa deposit.
Oh, I see. So if you sell and decided to rent later, then you either pay the deposit, or you buy another property immediately.
That's correct. Yes, yeah.
See, I see. Okay. So for this kind of properties, right? Like if the under this visa, if the applicants decided to purchase a property, are they restricted to certain kind of property approved by PRA, or is there like they can choose freely from any markets, either secondary or the the project they
Right. So yeah, they can choose either pre-selling or secondary market.
okay.
So there's no restriction with that one.
Mhm.
The only thing is that the ownership. So because again, there is a restriction for foreigners to own a land or house and lot.
Hmm.
But if ever they really wish to have that, then they can do a long-term lease instead.
Okay, yeah. The long-term lease is 25 years, do you say?
25 years, yes. With a total of what's that, 50,000 US dollars, yes.
Okay.
Total contract price.
Okay, okay. So under this visa, right, are they allowed to work like under employment, like with another company or so?
Yes, by having that visa, you can choose to work. Of
Mhm.
course, especially for those who are not ailing yet, no. So definitely they can still choose to work, or they can put up their own business.
Okay, okay. So there's no restriction on working.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So I think we are pretty clear of everything
Right.
that you share. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, we do look forward to the day that we can travel again. Definitely, I think it will
Yes.
yeah, it will be many people will find it interesting to
Yeah.
seek a second home visa for the Philippines. Yeah. Okay.
So sorry, I forgot to mention also earlier that as you avail the SRV visa and you become I mean, as you have that and you stay in the Philippines, that will
Mm,
also enable you to
mm,
avail some loans in the future. So, for example, if you buy a property
mm,
and a pre-selling property, for example, if you've been here for almost 2 years already,
mm.
then your local bank can provide you financing, home financing, bank loan financing.
Wow,
So that is one of the challenges that we encounter with
yes.
our other investors, right? They will be like, you know what, I want to invest in the Philippines, but I can't have a financing after the 20%. I can't pay the entire 100%, right? So having this visa, this could be another avenue for our investors to actually own properties in the Philippines and optimize the growth of their money through investment in properties.
Okay, so actually it's a win-win situation. You can first put your 20,000 or 50,000 deposit as for the visa. Then after
Right.
that, you can utilize that deposit to purchase a property, and with their like a 2 years holding on to the visa, you can actually have a loan from the bank that you are using, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you're working in the country and if you also have a business here, then
Mm.
definitely that will, of course, the bank loan will be totally dependent on your credit rating or your capacity to pay. Right. So of course that will be a big consideration, but at least it will address the problem of you not being able to get a loan to pay off your investment.
Okay, yeah, I think that is good news to those that really looking into the property in the Philippines, and this is
Right.
really a good option, yeah, for them to consider. Okay. Okay, it's really an insightful sharing, Andrew. I really thank you. And for the audience, if you have any question or any require any further information, please drop us a message in the comment box or contact us directly. And you can visit our website www.iqiglobal.com. And please tune in to our international prop chat every Friday night at 9:30 for other international property sharing. And if you have missed any of our episodes, do log into our Facebook page, IQI International Sales, or YouTube to watch the replay. And do support us by sharing our program to your friends and family. And remember to tune in every Friday night, 9:30. Meanwhile, I just want to express my thanks to Andrew, and I wish you have a good evening, and take care and stay
You
safe.
too, Sue. Yeah. Stay safe. Yeah.
Yes,
All
okay.
right.
Wong signing off now. Bye.
Bye.